Okay, we'll wrap up this lecture on communication by looking at deceit and illegitimate receivers. All right, so most signals are honest signals. Okay, so a male stickleback courting a female has a red body color. That's an honest signal of the male's quality. He has to eat red-colored foods in order to build this red color on his body, and the signal, the brightness of his signal also tells females his parasite load, because males with heavy parasite loads tend to be duller than males with low parasite loads. So the signal of red body color is an honest one. It can't be faked. So it's an honest signal. Song rate in territorial defense in birds tends to be an honest signal. I'm good at defending my territory because I can sing this song all the time. I'm using a lot of energy. I have a lot of energy, and I'm of good quality male. I'm going to be able to defend my territory. It's honest. Another good example would be, here's one. The pseudopenis of hyenas. That's crazy. Females kind of are in control in the social settings in the social environment of hyenas. And females have a pseudopenis. What they have is a very large clitoris that can be extended just like a penis can be. And in their social settings, dominance is really important. Being highly ranked means you're going to get the most food, you're going to get the most matings, you're going to be able to mate successfully. So female rank is really important in female success in a population. And we think that the pseudopenis is used in communicating social status in females. It's an honest signal about who each individual is, what their status is, are they healthy, etc. And we see females going up to each other and displaying erect penises, and then they investigate each other's penises. They smell, they lick, they do all sorts of things with these pseudopenises. And we think this is really important in social communication, and there's no way to fake your size or your, the olfactory cues associated with this thing. It helps females to communicate honestly about their status. But there is deceit in the world of communication. And so part B here, let's think about animals using signals to deceive others. Animals can use signals in a non-predictive way to their advantage that benefits only the signaler then, right? And there are all sorts of examples of this. I have some pictures, they didn't come through apparently. If you've ever seen a killdeer, it's a little bird that nests usually in rocky environments. Sometimes you'll see them in parking lots and things. But the female adult killdeer will lead on a predator, a potential predator, by faking a broken wing and making loud calls of distraction when that predator is near the nest. So the adult female killdeer will distract a predator from the nest by faking the predator out. Hey, I look like I'm an injured bird that you could catch, if you will. Predatory fireflies that we've talked about are those female fireflies that send out signals to males of other species, telling them, hey, I might be a female to mate with, until the male is attracted to them and moves in, and the female eats them. Those would be great examples of deceit Some birds are capable of producing false alarm calls when other birds are maybe pursuing the same kind of food as them. I want to show you an example of that. Oh, but here's another example during courtship. This one's a fun one. Male snakes put out female pheromones to exhaust the courtship displays of other males in the area. So what happens when a female's around is that a bunch of males are attracted to her, and they all court her, and they work around her, and then finally one or two of them get to mate with her after long courtship events. Well, what some males do is they pretend to be females by sending out female signals. All the males come in, do all their courtship displays, exhaust themselves, and then this sneaker male, if you will, can in fact go out and find his own females, and he has the energy to do so. Well, here's an example of a blue jay making calls. It's worth watching. We can watch it here. Maybe. Okay, this is the blue jay, and what I want to, I like the video here. It's just a normal blue jay doing its thing. Now, hear that different kind of call? That sounds like a sharp shinhawk. Okay, and the person who made this says it faked out the chickadees. Now the blue jay is making an alarm call. So what's going on here is the blue jay is faking that there's a predator in the area. It's making an alarm call to also fake out any of the birds in the area. Crazy. Let me get out of here. See if I can get out of here, right? In that case, the blue jay was making a sharp shinhawk call and its own alarm calls to deceive other birds in the area. Well, why would it do that? Well, maybe so that it can get to a food source, maybe so it can get to a nest of, say, a chickadee and eat the eggs of that chickadee. Clearly, it's deceiving the birds in the area in two ways, really. It's kind of cool. So why are these deceit maintained? Like, why are the receivers not catching on to this, right? There are two ideas. One of them is called the novel environment theory. The novel environment theory says that the receivers are making a maladaptive response. It's not adaptive, but it once was adaptive. Okay, so in the novel environment theory, the maladaptive response by the receivers once was adaptive, but because of a radical change in the environment, is no longer adaptive. And there's a great example of this, and I thought I had a picture of it in these jewel beetles in Australia. Apparently, male jewel beetles in Australia will attempt to mate with beer bottles. Like, what's going on? Well, this isn't really a good idea. It's not adaptive, that's for sure, right? But it appears that these males are tricked. They're deceived by the beer bottles. In this case, this is not really quite deceit because the beer bottle is doing the deceiving in some ways. But the beer bottles look like the kind of brown beer bottles look like the jeweled female beetles. And so they'll try to mate with these beer bottles. It's very weird. But they're deceived because of this novel environment. Their response is definitely maladaptive. It's not adaptive. But it's because of a change in the environment. More often, the deceit is maintained because of something called exploitation theory. the maladaptive response is usually adaptive, but it's being exploited by other animals. And that's what was happening in that video with the blue jay, right? So most of the time, if a chickadee hears a blue jay making an alarm call or hears a sharp-shinned hawk, then what should the chickadee do? Fly away, get out of there, be ready for a sharp-shinned hawk attack. In this case, the blue jay was deceiving the black-capped chickadees into thinking there was a sharp-shinned hawk in the area and allowing the blue jay to do whatever. So typically, it's really smart it's adaptive for a chickadee to pay attention to a blue jay alarm call, to pay attention to a sharp-shinned hawk call, but in this case, it was faked, okay? In this case, the chickadee were being exploited by the blue jays. Why isn't there even more deceit then? Why not deceive all the time? Well, because it's not possible all the time. Animals have to use honest signals some of the time, like the red color in a stickleback is an honest signal. You can't fake it. You can't just be bright red and not be in good quality. Or you can't sing beautiful long songs if you don't have good quality as a bird. So it's not possible to do more deceit. Or it could be that there isn't more deceit because of kind of a cooperative tit-for-tat strategy, like, okay, I'm going to help you now, and you help me later, and we'll all be good. So I'm not going to deceive you because I know that, I don't want you to deceive me later. So there's this kind of reciprocal altruism type of idea going on there. Okay, so there's deceit. There's also illegitimate receivers. Some animals receive signals that were not meant for them. This happens all the time. It often involves predators intercepting a signal. And animals will do their best to avoid signaling to illegitimate receivers, but it happens. So male guppies, they're little fish, they have beautiful coloration to attract females. But being colorful also makes you conspicuous to predators. And predators can see you. Their predators are an illegitimate receiver of this color signal, if you will. Animals will do their best to avoid signaling to illegitimate receivers. So male guppies will court only at dusk and dawn and only under certain conditions. If there are more predators in the area, they will court less. They will make less conspicuous displays. Even the population will be less conspicuous. Right? Here's an example of another example of illegitimate receivers picking up information from a frog. So frogs have to male frogs make mating calls to attract their mates. Typically a louder, more complex call is more attractive to a female. But let's check out the Tungara frogs. When they make calls, there are illegitimate receivers that receive this information and prey upon our frogs. So let's check them out. Consider the life of a Tungara male frog. They use complex calls to attract a mate, but those calls also attract predators. Okay, the midge fly is the Tungara frog's main predator, and it can transmit disease. So here we've got these frogs calling at night, and look at all those little flies coming in. They're horrible, midge flies. Yeah. She's studying this relationship. This is fun. She took frogs from the city and put them in the country. Within 4 days, the city frogs toned down their calls to attract fewer predators. Country must have more predators. Why don't they stop calling? Well, you gotta get a mate somehow, right? Yeah, it's all about sex. They need to mate, so they got to keep calling to attract the females. But they're going to attract midge flies along the way. That's a big fat hassle. That's for sure. So communication is all about sending out a signal that benefits the signaler and the receiver. But some animals take advantage of communication to deceive others or to illegitimately receive information. And that's going to happen with communication. It happens in humans, it happens in the animal kingdom all over the place. All right, that's the end of this lecture.